Nigeria has grappled with various shades of security challenges since its independence 58 years ago. From civil disturbances arising from ethnic intolerance to political differences, agitations over resource control, religious uprising, and lately, outright terrorism and farmers-herders crisis. As we begin our assessment of Nigeria's journey in the past 58 years, our correspondent Amaka Okafor x-rays the security issues that the country has had to contend with and their effects on the nation.
Nigeria's security challenges started almost immediately after gaining independence from Britain on October 1st, 1960. The overthrow of the first civilian government in 1966 opened the floodgate of crisis that led to military rule, which eventually resulted in the Biafra secession and the civil war that lasted about 3 years. As the Civil War came to an end in 1970, the oil boom gave rise to another form of crisis, agitation for resource control in the Niger Delta, led by Adakaboro. Although that did not do much damage to the security architecture, the agitation has taken on a different form over the years and has taken a toll on Nigeria's economy and taxed the military. The recent agitations led by the Niger Delta People's Volunteer Force gave the military some sleepless nights. The group, along with several other groups within the region, damaged oil installations and kidnapped oil workers, mostly expatriates. While that was ongoing, the southeastern part of the country had its own share of agitations led by the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, headed by Mr. Ralph Uwazurike. Uwazurike was arrested for treason and later released. The members of the indigenous people of Biafra soon emerged and posed another threat to Nigeria's security. In the 1980s, a fierce skirmishes by religious extremists in northern Nigeria threatened the security of the country, but was quickly curtailed. But in recent times, up until now, Nigeria has had to engage in what is today seen as a war with the terrorist group Boko Haram, which activities have led to the death of thousands of Nigerians and displaced many since 2009.
The government has to, increase the spending and increase planning for security forces, even, looking at the immediate threats that are likely to happen. So it is this planning that will make Nigeria to... We are only reacting now. We are reacting to the Boko Haram, we are reacting to the cattle herders, farmers, and this. It is only now that we are realizing we really do not have enough security forces. Whether you talk of the military, whether you talk of the police, we are really on demand. Some people will say, is it only security? Certainly it's not only security. You have health, you have education, you have environment, you have other sectors. And there's always this debate of how much money can you spend on security before babies start dying for lack of milk. So you have to draw a balance. But the debate, the argument for security is that, again, without security, you cannot be talking of schools.
Many other Nigerians, including schoolgirls in Chibok, Borno, and Dapchi in Yobe State, have ended up as victims of abduction by the group.
Protect and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
When the present administration came into being in 2015, the insurgence was at its highest and the agitations in the southeast gained momentum. The crisis between farmers and herders recently assumed a scary dimension in north-central Nigeria with banditry and cattle rustling. The military has been deployed to various flashpoints, overstretching the capacity of Nigeria's security forces, while the nation continues to count her numerous losses.
Military force alone is not the solution. There have to be other measures, the political, the social cultural measures, the political measure, like what I mean by social cultural measure, the religious leaders involving themselves, the civil societies getting involved, educating, sensitizing, having counter-narrative.
And as the nation heads into an election year, the challenge for the current administration, in addition to tackling prevailing crises in different parts of the country, is to conduct a general election that will be violence-free. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
Indeed, 58 years after Nigeria's independence, the country continues to face various security challenges, some of which seem to defy solutions. But joining me live from our Abuja studios is a former director of the Defense Headquarters, Major General Wahab Ayodeji. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining me on the news at 10 at this time. 58 years down the line, and we're still facing these kinds of challenges. Shouldn't we have gone past as a nation after 58 years?
Thank you very much for inviting me this evening. We are just taking reactive measures. We are expected by now to have actually settled down to do a strategic threat analysis completely. Look at the factors that are contributing or causing and contributing to this crisis. And with that, you assess and evaluate. Look at the threats, look at the and come up with priorities as to which one you will tackle immediately. And then you profile strategies and policies to those things. Without doing that, we will just be wasting time reacting every time. Apart from that, we have not actually come up to look at ourselves and say, look, this is what we want to be as Nigerians. What is the national vision? What do we want Nigeria to be? The average Nigerian does not believe in Nigeria. We don't believe in the security agencies. You don't provide information. These guys are not magicians. You have to tell them, you have to inform them of what is happening. And above all, even the security agencies must cooperate. They must collaborate, and they must be coordinated. If they are not coordinated, they just be working independently of each other. And the coordination is very, very important. Yes, the president had gone out to ask for international collaboration. We are not the only one facing this crisis. Africa, Middle East, and India, some continents, are actually the most volatile areas of the world. But the way you manage your crisis determines whether you are a developing nation, whether you are a failing state, or whether you are a failed state. So it is left for us to really look at what are we doing. Are we doing the correct thing? We shouldn't be reacting every time. We should sit down and look at what are the causes, what are the factors, and come out with strategies and policies to counter them.
Now some analysts say that this situation that Nigeria finds itself in today is more politically driven than militarily driven. Do you share the same sentiments? Is this a political warfare that is turning out to bring so much insecurity upon the country?
You see, whatever the crisis you are talking about, you have element of politics in it. The military anywhere is expected to go out there, provide the enabling environment for the politicians to come back and talk. War is believed to be a continuation of politics through other means. So even if you fight a war, you still come back to come and talk. So politicians must learn to discuss among themselves. They need to come together and look at how do we move Nigeria forward. We can't continue. The military cannot solve the problem because the problem was not caused. It's not a military issue. There are so many, that's why I said we need to look at what are the causes, what are the threats. Without defining the causes and looking for solutions to those things, we'll just be groping around the bush.
What, in your view, should be the solutions when you look at security, or should I say the lack of it in the Northeast, for instance, when you look at the Niger Delta region, the agitations that we see time and again coming out from that axis as well? What, for you, should be the solutions to these challenges that we face?
To me, like I said, what do we want Nigeria to be? National aspiration. 2, we need to raise the level of law enforcement. The security agencies performing alongside with the judiciary. If you remove impunity in Nigeria, most of the problems you have will at least reduce. If somebody can do anything and go scot-free, then what stops others from joining in? So we need to reduce impunity, which is fueling corruption. We are not the only nation, for goodness sake, facing crisis. But are we really managing the crisis? Are we really managing ourselves? We are practicing. You need to read the book. There's a book on why nations fail. And the author says, look, we have 2 issues. 1, the extractive economy. 2, exclusive politics. When you exclude people from participating in political activities, they become agitated. But the thing is, it is easy to solve economic issues. You can discuss. But once they go into the realm of social, traditional, or tribal issue, they become entrenched. And
That's
that's
a good
why we
place
need to work seriously to solve those things. And the government needs to help the infrastructure that is available in the society. Because the average person should be able to at least look inwards and say, look, I can be self-employed.
I'm afraid,
if there is nothing,
that's where we will have to let it rest. I must, however, thank you so much indeed, Major General Wahab Ayodeji, the former Director of Defense Headquarters. Thank you so much indeed for talking to me on the News 10.